city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right. Mile High Hockey Lab.
The city of Denver, the state of Colorado, you guys have been fucking amazing for the last 10 years.
Let me start off with a Twitch feed this morning, and I got to get the whole name right.
From Spectrum Community Services Studios in Colorado, USA, this is the Mile High Hockey Lab.
Well, hello and welcome to the Mile High Hockey Lab. My name is Adrian Hernandez. I am joined today by Jackie K, Evan Liu, and Brendan Vogt for this 133rd episode of the Mile High Hockey Lab, a Friday episode of the Mile High Hockey Lab. Yes, Evan, 133-33 for Mr. Patrick Waugh, if you want to go as far as saying, picking a number from Avs lore. But yes, thank you folks for joining us on this beautiful Friday, just after an Avalanche victory over the Seattle Kraken last night, which we will touch on. We also saw an interesting outcome against Edmonton, which I'm sure we'll have lots of opinions on a specific ordeal that happened in that game, including a game misconduct for Nathan MacKinnon that has since been rescinded. We will also look ahead at the games to come between now and our next Tuesday episode, and we will chit-chat a little bit about college free agents, I imagine, with the Avalanche making an acquisition. So we have lots to talk about. Thank you to the three of you for joining me today. I'm going to start with you, Evan, because you were the last one here right at the gun, and I love that because that means you probably saw we went live and went, oh, yeah, that's right. I got to go and get on there. Tell me, what were your thoughts of just right off the rip, the Nathan MacKinnon misconduct, and then since that being rescinded by the NHL?
Man, oh man. Well, it's crazy because I was in the comments of the last podcast on Tuesday on the bus ride home. So I was already tired. It'd been a long working day. And I think that happened like midnight Eastern for me out here. And I'm sitting here half asleep watching this, and I'm saying, that's a game misconduct. That's a major penalty. Like, yeah. I think I even tweeted it out. Is that like, I'm half asleep and I know that's not the right call. And I think I had accepted the fact that yes, there is a penalty. I think that's fine to say. He charged really hard to the net, right? I think there was going to be some sort of contact, I think, with Ingram, but it wasn't going to be that major if Darnell Nurse isn't an uncontrollable giraffe who falls into him and leans him the other way into Ingram's head. If anything, he's going away from Ingram, right? I think it's kind of in the screenshot that Duran says they're going like this away from Ingram, and Nurse kind of shifts them back into him. Like, not great look. Kelly Sutherland has not had a good reputation against the Avs. I think it's 3-12
against the Kelly Sutherland.
Yeah, so there you go. Not a great look, that's for sure. And I feel like the penalty being rescinded, I think even the NHL themselves have said, yeah, I don't think that was the right call. So Not really great to lose a whole period of MacKinnon versus McDavid, especially in a high stakes game like that, considering what Edmonton did 2 nights later that really hurt the Avs for almost a little bit of time last night. So not a great look. I don't know how the referee scheduling goes on from here, but I really hope Kelly Sutherland is not part of it for the Avs the rest of the regular season and the postseason. So,
well, I want to show you something else that you will jog your memory about a fun fact about Mr. Kerry Sutherland as well, which is this clip from the Maple Leafs versus Avalanche game.
That was the same game.
He goes to try to get out of the way bush. I think he thought that puck maybe was going high. I don't know. I mean, that's the only thing I can think. And then Lawrence comes in and just airmails it.
Oh, man, you can't possibly make this up.
Oh, I think you can. I think you can make it up. And I just to see a guy like be the butt of like every weird thing that happens to the Avalanche as it pertains to officiating, I don't think it's unreasonable to be like, that's kind of weird that it's the same guy over and over again. It's this guy who toe picked and dove in front of a puck that led perfectly to a goal for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, you could put the tinfoil hat on and start going conspiracy theorists all you want. But at the end of the day, the Avs still had a job to do against Edmonton after that major. But I think Bednar
either. I think that Toronto game, I think that was the only goal of the game was that goal.
You're right.
It was last year. I remember that. That one I was wide awake for because it was in Toronto and it was my time.
Yeah, and you were the one covering the game. I remember you texted me. You're like, "What the just happened?"
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
And I turn it on. I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Well, it's like here's the thing. I think Bednar put it well when he said, there's a million other things like that led to us losing. Like the Avs were not sharp. They were giving up a ton of net front chances, way too many, putting Blackwood out there leaving him out there to dry. And that sucks because you're really trying to restore confidence in that goaltender. And that is not what we saw. But I will say that the Avalanche power play, moving on to last night's victory, the power play is starting to look better. And I didn't have it on my bingo card, but Nick Waugh has kind of been a catalyst to that so far. Brandon, what are your thoughts?
I'm liking the fact that they're actually scoring. I don't care who it is.
Yeah, it's well put.
As long as the puck is getting into the back of the freaking net on the power play, which is about time, because we're only 31st in the league right now. Is that right, Evan? Because I think you covered it last
30th. I think 30th I do know the percentage since the Olympic break. I think is somewhere around 20-25%, which is much better.
Yeah, considering they were 15.8. So yeah. As long as the net's getting filled, I don't care who's doing it.
Well, I care as long as that it's not the other team, because now the Avalanche they've added another to their league leading, which this is not a good stat to lead the league in, which is shorthanded goals against, with 12 now, building on their 11th. I will say though that I did a little digging last night. I thought I had bad information at first until I found the analytics I was looking for in Hockey Reference, and the Avs in 1995-96 led the league in shorthanded goals against with 22 shorthanded goals against, and of course they did win the Stanley Cup. So,
and here we are pitching about 11.
Yeah. Anthony Pacino, a longtime listener, he asked me what the heck was going on, because the next two teams had 20 each against. I think it was Dallas and Montreal. And I was like, maybe the clutch and grab era was lending to more shorthanded chances than you typically see now. But either way, like, yes, you get a power play goal, but you give up one shorthanded. At this point, I don't care about the shorthanded ones as much as I care about scoring on the power play, because I think 12 compared to getting that percentage, maybe giving up giving up like 15 shorthanded goals. I looked at our numbers and then it snuck into my brain. But giving up 15 shorthanded goals wouldn't be a big deal as long as your power play is clipping at like at least 20% to me, because I have a hard time believing the shorthanded goals thing comes out to bite you in the playoffs. But knock on wood, I suppose, as far as that's concerned.
I mean the power play itself, I think, still needs a little bit of work, right? I think it's definitely gotten better. MacKinnon's a little more free flowing. Nate just moving to that MacKinnon spot where he was in the Olympics has been solid. And like I said, like the power play's been doing much better since the Olympic break. And I think you saw, or I hope at least that Dave Hackstall saw what Nate just can do, what MacKinnon can do in these different areas, and working with a different system and whatnot, and trying to integrate it in some sort of way back in Colorado. And I think that they've kind of done that a little bit, which is good. And even too, like Nate has just continued his dominant, post Olympic, he's just been doing so good. He surpassed 30 goals last night. And that was another fun stat that I figured out last night, is that Nate is now the third different 30 goal scorer this season, behind Nelson and MacKinnon. Happened 3 other times in Avs history, in 1995-96, 2018-2019, and 21-22. There are 2 of those years in particular that stand out to me. That I like how those years finished. I hope that it would be the same this year. And when you have a lot of consistent scoring from a lot of different players, I think that'll help your case.
Well, and here's the funny thing is that the Eagles have one of the least amount of shorthanded goals in the league. They only have 2 against.
Yeah.
Where
and they're not a
and I mean, look at the Avs, they've got 9 more. Come on. Like where's the difference in the power play here? Come on. You guys
I think the shorthanded thing comes as a result of pressing on the power play, on trying a little too much, because that's the thing we've been beaten up on all season, which is that the power play isn't very good. So they're squeezing the sticks a little tighter, as they say. And I think maybe trying to take some risks that maybe they would still take, but there's just an element of pressing to it as well. And I think that that's what we've seen. I mean, namely, look at Cale Makar, who we've talked about in particular having trouble scoring on the power play. And we've said the power play goes as far as Cale goes in terms of that. We're seeing some of that frustration come through. And a lot of the times it's Cale trying to keep a puck, or Cale trying to dance along the blue line, and ends up springing somebody else. So I'm cool with it. Like, they're experimenting. I really like the cycle that they've got going with Natchez and MacKinnon sharing that circle. I think that's going to bode well for them, especially with MacKinnon being the guy who just decides, all right, whatever, I'll just attack the net. And then you get those rebounds like we saw Nick Waugh put in last night. So it's good times for the Avalanche, because I do think there is progression. Like, they're due, right? We agreed that the Avs power play is due. So hopefully that kind of spurs itself on right now at the right time. I do want to go back to the misconduct, because we have a comment from Hannah, who says, yeah, that misconduct was flat out BS. Without the low hit to Nate on his push to the net, he would have been able to skirt around Ingram easily. Yeah, I think I saw a still shot where they even kind of put lines to show kind of where MacKinnon's blades were pointing and how he would have probably went through. And then, of course, Nurse was, as you put it, Evan, giraffing through the area.
The funny thing is there's a reverse view from someone taking a picture or still frame from the glass, and someone took out Darnell Nurse, and you can see that if Darnell Nurse isn't there, that Nathan MacKinnon would have been able to easily avoid Connor Ingram, the goalie, but awkward giraffe.
Well, the other thing too that I got into an argument kind of with all of our other SB Nation hockey writers is that Ingram was leaning forward, trying to make the save, make a play, whatever, and that
which he has a right to do, though.
Which yes, and I'm not saying that's not allowed, and that he's leaning forward, leaning into MacKinnon's knee, hitting him in the head and whatnot, and I can see that. And that's where I kind of circle back and say I think that still a penalty was probably going to be enforced because there was going to be some sort of contact. I think MacKinnon was still probably going to hit. I think it was Ingram's right arm that was out with like his stick still, so it was going to be something. But that's vastly different than hitting him in the head, which wouldn't have happened.
Totally.
So.
Brendan, and maybe you guys can inform me on this, but is the rule that if you get a 5-minute major and there's head contact that it's an automatic misconduct? Or was there room for there to be a 5-minute major, but MacKinnon stays on the bench? Because I could even have been like, all right, maybe in terms of that, because I know they're doing a lot to protect the head and neck area in particular. So you could draw that line and say, look, any contact to the head and neck area of the goalie, no matter how it happens, needs to be punished. Yada yada yada. I wouldn't necessarily agree with that. But I would agree with that a hell of a whole lot more than MacKinnon doesn't get to play hockey anymore because Darnell Nurse got beat and had to, out of desperation, put MacKinnon into his own goalie. And you're right, Evan. I think what you're talking about, too, Tuukka Rask, who's on the TNT panel, who I don't know if you folks know this, NHL goalie with tons of experience and success. He talked about it being a perfect storm kind of play. And he mentioned exactly what you did, Evan, where the way the play kind of went, Ingram was reaching forward to make a save, and Darnell's beat. MacKinnon's doing what he's supposed to do, what he's taught to do, quote, to, Wayne Gretzky, Oilers great, who said the same thing about MacKinnon. He has to hit the net. He did the right thing, yada, yada, yada. So you're right. I think it's more of a bad outcome. Like Bednar said, I don't care that he's injured. He's not saying that like he doesn't care that Ingram got hurt. Of course he cares. He's saying that shouldn't be weighed in terms of what the punishment is as far as a penalty, because it wasn't intentional. With
suspensions it is, but he didn't get suspended in this case. And and I'd have to dig in the rule book if it's an automatic like 10, but I see 5 and 10s all the time with the AHL, and they'll sit in the box and then they'll come out. So they're gone for like 15 minutes. I mean, gosh, Keaton Middleton used to get them all the time. So he'd get in a fight and then chirp the goalie or chirp the ref on the way back into the box. And it's just be like 10-minute unsportsmanlike. What? Then he's gone for 15 minutes. And so I know in the AHL that they can come back, but gosh, I don't think that was a 5 and 10. That was a 2 at minimum.
Well, the other thing too is that I've never seen a 5-minute major for goaltender interference. I don't think that's ever been called.
It could have been the fact that he made contact with the head, and
I'm assuming what it is, but still, it's kind of insane, and it kind of goes back to a whole conversation. I think I saw this too. Is that like it's all about like the foot in the crease, 1999 Dallas and Buffalo, At that point, just don't let any player into the crease. And
Buffalo would have a Stanley Cup if that were the case.
I don't know. It's insanity.
It brings up funny that you mentioned that. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
It brings up the old meme of you're asking a new hockey or asking a new hockey fan is asking an older hockey fan, hey, what's goaltender interference? Oh, goaltender interference is wrong. The rule is the answer is no one knows what it is. So.
And then we saw that goal last night. I can't remember who it was. Oh, William Eklund for the Sharks. What a goal. He bats a puck out of midair, but I sarcastically tweeted, if you look at the replay, he's in the blue paint when he's batting the puck out of midair.
But he's not making contact anywhere near the goalie.
Game misconduct, kick him out. I don't want to see that sort of thing. He's making contact with the goalie's pad in the crease, kick him out. I don't want to see it. That's what Edmonton and Dallas thinks.
If they kick him out, you know who can sign a contract? Colorado Rockies. Get William Eklund on the phone. There you go.
Yeah. Seems like he can put a bunt down the first base line if he needs to. That's for sure. At minimum. Well, yeah, that was the whole MacKinnon thing. It's just kind of like the NHL has already admitted that they were wrong. So that's the funny part is Edmonton Oilers and Dallas Stars fans can never agree on anything except for when it comes to agreeing that the Avalanche did something they don't like. But I'm sorry, your favorite player in the world, Wayne Gretzky, doesn't even agree with you. So have a nice time with that. But let's move on to the
now.
Yeah, let's move on to the Kraken game again. We kind of going back and forth a little bit here. That's totally fine though. But Avs 5-1 dominant victory. Got a little shaky for a second there with that shorthanded goal up 3-0 when they could have gone up 4-0. But then it was none other than Nazem Kadri scoring his first goal in an Avalanche sweater since returning. Anthony Pacino also said in my X feed, wow, hasn't even scored since June of 2022. What a drought.
Yeah, what a slacker.
I said, yeah, I'm glad he's off the schneid, but it really is good to see Nazem Kadri putting the puck in the net. That was 13th of the season. And then just an Avalanche team that looked like it wasn't playing with its food last night. Brandon, is that what you saw as well?
Wasn't playing with its what?
Food.
I think they wanted to show Seattle. It's like, hey, y'all want to be in the playoffs? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll see what you're gonna be up against. So so I think they just wanted to set the tone for a few weeks from now.
Yeah, and they got beat up on pretty good for losing to Edmonton, which let's remember that's on the heels of 2 straight shutout victories over the next 2 best teams in your division, to include the Dallas Stars, who literally haven't lost to anyone but the Avalanche in like 22 games. So it's let's take a chill a little bit, Avalanche fans. We might lose one here and there, especially when MacKinnon doesn't get to play for the second half of the game, and you lose. We don't have Arturi Lehkonen already, and you don't have Gabe Landeskog, and then we lost Ross Colton as well in that game. Did Ross return last night for Seattle against Seattle? No, still out.
No,
so
they went 11-7. So we actually saw the debut of Nick Blankenberg.
That's right.
Yet. So 11 forwards, 7 defensemen. Blankenberg was fine. He was quiet. He did what he kind of had to do. And
he ate up ice time.
Yeah. So it was good to see that. Good to see that. Good to see Nas score a goal. Good to see angry Nate, even though he didn't really seem that angry. He just was like, I'm just going to go out here and score an easy 4 points. And that's what he did, So good rebound. It definitely wasn't pretty in that middle period for sure. The Avs, they kind of had those 2 penalty kills back to back, basically. They obviously gave up that shorthanded goal, and there were a few breakaways. I remember too in the start of the third period where Wedgwood came up big, right? And I know that was kind of discussed on Tuesday, and I tried my best to talk about it on the bus of like Wedgwood might be 1A.
I want to talk about that next. Yeah. Let's talk about that absolutely right now. That's where I want to go next, because we look ahead at this season. I talked about it with Jackie a little bit too, just kind of in private, and was like, when does this become an issue in terms of like, I think just about everyone agrees in this moment that Scott Wedgwood is the best goalie in Colorado. And look no further, I think, than like that Edmonton game where it maybe have been put on display that the Avalanche have more defensive problems than they're willing to acknowledge. But I think it's a middle ground between also, not getting some of the saves that Wedgwood does supply that Blackwood's just not giving you right now. So I think it's a combination of those two things. But man, if the playoffs start tomorrow and you want to give yourself the best chance to start 1-0 in a first round series, I think you're going with Scott Wedgwood.
I'd agree with that. And I mean, again, I would not put, like, for example, the Dallas game or the Edmonton game on Blackwood when he was starting those games, because defense let him down. Guys in front of him let him down, right? It's a team sport. I know I've said this before. I was a soccer goalie. I was always told that the other team's got to beat 10 guys and then they got to beat you. Just like in hockey, they got to beat 5 guys and then beat you, right? So Blackwood has not been bad by any stretch of the imagination. He's been solid. He's been good. But I think Wedgwood has been a little bit better. Obviously, that Dallas game when he came in relief after Blackwood gave up, what was it, 4 goals on 11 shots or whatever?
Yep.
That Wedgwood came up big, made some huge saves. The shootout in particular, those saves on Duchesne and whoever the first shooter was Robertson, were spectacular. And again, like last night in Seattle, I think he makes some really solid saves on those penalty kills, but then also on the breakaways to start the third period. I don't know if Blackwood makes all those saves. He may let in one or two, and that would obviously, kind of change how that third period played out or how that second period played out, So I feel like Wedgwood might give you the better edge. I understand, though, the Avalanche trying to kind of, I guess, for lack of a better term, force Blackwood to be their starter because the money shows that, right? And I think that's kind of where this is maybe coming from an Avalanche perspective, is that he's getting paid. Blackwood is getting paid as a starter versus Wedgwood is not so much. But
they're pushing a narrative.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't feel like that should be the difference. The difference should be who is your best guy. And I think
the narrative is who, we're going to be a goalie by committee team no matter what. We're going to bring Blackwood around. That's the objective, right? Am I agree? Are we all agree on that?
Well, the problem is that it seems like anytime that Blackwood plays, they have to dig themselves out of a hole.
Yeah.
At that, they're always scrambling because he'll let in a couple shots. Like right off the bat, he'll let in like 2-3 goals right off the bat, and then the Avs have to scramble to score 2, 3, 4 goals to get the lead back, and then they can start playing defensive hockey, and that's exhausting on a defenseman.
Yeah,
to have to do that.
We haven't seen a lot of games where Blackwood comes in relief of Wedgwood. And I think that tells you
this year.
Stories. A pretty good story. And Evan, I cut you off a little bit there. I didn't mean to do that. Sorry. But I want to mention too, to your point, Wedgwood probably was the only one who was equipped to make those crazy saves on Robinson and Duchesne. As you mentioned in the post game, he'd taken a lot of shots from those guys in that format in practice, and having been a Dallas Star, and he knew which options to take away until all they had left was the last one, and then he made the desperation save in both scenarios. So you're totally right. Like he's making those game-changing saves right now.
No, absolutely. And I don't think Wedgwood played in the playoffs last year at all, did he? I think it was only Blackwood that
I believe you're
got
right.
game time. So granted, last year very different from this year. So you never know. Hindsight's 20/20. But I mean, you have two guys now that can go at it, right? And I know Ezra had said this too on Tuesday, that goalies who start off the year on the IR or aren't playing that much, coming off an injury, have struggled, and Blackwood falls into that category. I think it's taken him some time to kind of find his footing again and get into game mode. Not saying that he's not there, because he is, but sure. I feel like Wedgwood just has that edge over Blackwood right now that would make him, more of the 1A. It's not like it's not Wedgwood solidly first and Blackwood's second down here. No, they're still pretty close. They're pretty much, I would say, right here. Like they can flip flop either which way, but I think Wedgwood is kind of the guy right now, and don't mind that at all a bit.
I agree with you there. I agree. We are joined by Jackie K, who was in the studio but unable to voice her opinion early on in the program. But Jackie, we're talking a little bit about Scott Wedgwood and Mackenzie Blackwood, and kind of the conversation as to, we've asked the question, if the playoffs started today, who would you go with? We pretty much all agree it's Wedgwood right now. And then we've, of course, discussed that seems like the narrative that's being pushed is that they're going to work Blackwood back to being the starter, and Wedgwood will inevitably go back to being more of the 1B. But I guess the question is, a scheduled start for Blackwood tomorrow against the Jets, or should we maybe be expecting Wedgwood?
I guess I'd probably expect Blackwood. I mean, there's a lot of different factors here. Like playing the Winnipeg Jets is not a big deal, so I think they just would go with Blackwood. If it was a big game, now we'll see who plays Dallas next week. I think that'll give you the clue. Like, it doesn't matter who plays against Winnipeg and Pittsburgh and whoever else they're playing. But that Dallas game, that is an enormous game, right? So we'll see who takes the net for that game. I've always said I've been team Wedgwood, and I think having Blackwood pulled in that Dallas game is, giving people a lot of recency bias in that right now they probably would agree. But I think, once he has a good game, I think the tide would shift back to the majority would say he's the guy. They made the investment in him. They're paying him the money. They traded for him. They gave him the contract. And we've been told he's the more talented goalie. I've never necessarily believed that entirely. But if people believe he's the better goalie, then they're going to want him to be the guy. And I think that's a mistake. I think you're going to need both to play in every series. I think they're going to try to get Blackwood, like you said, back to the starter because that's what they want. That's maybe not necessarily the best idea, but that's what they want to do for optics and to validate all these things. And I like the point that you all made that how many times have we seen Blackwood come in relief for Wedgwood? That's a good point. For as much as they split starts, we don't see that. So that's an interesting point. Like I said, I've always been Team Wedgwood, even when it was a little less in fashion than it is right now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I do still think they need both. I don't want Wedgwood to be 100% the starter. I think you got to realize what got you here. It's the tandem. But yeah, Wedgwood is not a backup. So
that's
that's
true.
Like that.
You said it as early on as when they acquired Wedgwood. And then when they acquired Blackwood, you said, I think Wedgwood will end up being the one that's viewed more as the starter. And that has just been more and more true as the months have gone by since that
and
claim.
I know people say Wedgwood, he's a career backup. Like, it's not like he just all of a sudden is a starter. That's usually the argument against it, is that in their history, Blackwood's been more of a starter and Wedgwood has been more of a backup. But but Blackwood has struggled in many of those years when he was a starter. And then obviously whatever's working for Wedgwood here. So I always hear that. Well, do you think Wedgwood suddenly, whatever his age is, has become a starting goalie? And it's like, well, I mean, here he kind of is.
Exactly.
And that's kind of the argument for a lot of players. Well, in Colorado, the story's a little bit different.
Yeah, and
like
Wedgwood's been the guy. I remember this very vividly. His first game with the Avs after he was traded to Colorado was the game here in Western New York, up in Buffalo, in December 2024, because I was there, and the Avs fell down 4-0 in the first period. And this was, I think, the last straw basically for Georgiev, and Wedgwood came in and shut out Buffalo for the rest of the night, and the Avs came back and won 5-4. So Wedgwood has been that guy since being here, even before Blackwood showed up. Granted, Blackwood was a week later, that he was traded for, but still, pretty immaculate job from from Wedgwood from day one.
Yeah, and
I think we were
point.
still kind of in shock from the Wedgwood trade when Blackwood showed up, and to have a complete new goalie room that within a week.
Well, Brendan, I'm curious what you think about this, because I think Jackie makes a great point about the job is different in Colorado, and with your experience as a defender, systematically, what does Colorado do differently than a lot of other teams that kind of gears it towards goalies like Kemper, Francouz? We've seen goalies who are typically viewed as decent, if not just above decent, really put up Vezina type numbers throughout a season. Is that just an emphasis to checking that Bednar always talks about?
Well, that's an interesting question, because I think all those guys that were considered more intelligent or positional than athletic, like the big guy, Black was considered more like a rhythm goalie, because he uses his size and his athleticism. So maybe it is because something about the Avs works with these quote unquote smaller, more positional, maybe more intelligent, analytic goalies.
Yeah. Brandon, expand on that.
Well, the defensive system's more of an offensive system, so I think it allows the goalies to rest a little bit more and play more of their game and come out and actually play the puck and give it to the defenders a little bit more. So, and that's based around the fact that you have your Cale Makars and used to be Sam Girards and things like that. But I think it just allows a little bit more rest in the back end in most circumstances for the goalies.
That's a good point because I mean, over the past 4 or 5 years, the theme in Avalanche games where they're playing their best, they're limiting teams to like 15 shots in the first 2 periods of hockey, and that is the recipe for success for pretty much any goalie, like limiting those opportunities. Obviously, it didn't work out for Georgiev because he couldn't stop even those limited opportunities, which is what we've seen kind of
But
how
he was so good at the beginning.
I know.
Like that's the other thing is I think he lost confidence. I think he lost confidence in himself. I think the team lost confidence in him. But the first year and a half, he was amazing.
He was. That's true.
He was Vezina winning goalie.
Yeah. That's 100% accurate. Heading into the meltdown season, the year before the meltdown season, I guess I was very high on Georgiev winning the Vezina because we had seen Kemper just put up numbers like that, and then it was like, well, I think Georgiev has a higher ceiling than Kemper. Let's see what happens. As it turns out, he had a much lower floor as well, which is unfortunate. But that was just another entry, I guess, into this story of net minding in Colorado. And now it's like you might have the guy that you brought in to be the best backup in the league might actually be one of the better starters. And then when playoff time rolls around, who you picking in game 1? And it's back to your point, Jackie, which is who's playing against Dallas coming up, because that tells you exactly who's viewed as the best goalie, because they're going to go with whoever gives you the best chance, because Dallas won't lose either. Apparently, the Avalanche and the Dallas Stars are just going to win 50 games this season and laugh at everybody else, apparently. So, but I think that's a good place to put a pin in that goaltender argument. We can come back to it as things develop a little bit. I do want to touch on the college free agent signing that we saw today. I know it's nothing crazy, but we did talk on the last episode about how the Avalanche are, I don't know, like one every 5 years they hit on one of those undrafted free agents. This guy's a right shot defender, 6'4", 200 and some pounds. Swedish. Sweden.
I like my Swedish players.
Yeah. So what are our initial thoughts on that? Obviously, he's going to go play for the Eagles, Brandon. So maybe this is a question for you.
He's on an AHL contract to start. So, and then he'll be on a 2-year, I'm assuming 2-way. They didn't specify, and then more than likely be assigned to the Eagles to start after that. But based on what I've seen so far, he loves to block shots. He led the team in block shots and this season. So 36 shots were blocked by him this year, which, in 30 something games, he's blocking on average at least 1 shot per game. The previous year, he took over 85 shots on goal. So he can shoot when he wants to as a defender. And then he led the team this year. He led the team with he led all defensemen with goals and was 6th on the team in points.
Nice.
So
that's pretty dang good.
Yeah. But Bowling Green is Bowling Green.
Sure. Yeah. They're not the toast of hockey, is what you're saying.
I haven't seen him play at all, but I have looked at his stats. 98 penalty minutes. That's kind of interesting. I think he had 10 points, which was less.
Yeah,
than
6 of them.
year.
6 of them were goals, but
I'm gonna guess that was a pretty high shooting percentage.
But
he had more points last year. So would I?
How do you say this guy's name? Gustav.
I was literally about to say no one has attempted to say this guy's name.
Just say Gustav for now. Yeah.
Gustav.
Well, I think they have a pronunciation guide on Bowling Green's website. So give me a sec.
Stjernberg is my guess, but
Gustav Stjernberg. I also realized I don't think Brandon, I don't think you saw this yet, but the Puckpedia has his official contract and cap hit already set up. So it's a 2-year ELC starting next year. We should mention, by the way, starting next year, 26-27. And it's a $955,000 cap hit with a $1.025 million AAV. So I can't tell if this is a one-way or a two-way.
I think
But
ELCs are always
tell.
ELCs
Well,
are
that's
always two-way.
true. Yeah,
Well,
ELCs
and
are two-way.
whoever wrote the freaking press release, you guys, I know you have a lot of work to do with the Avalanche, but whoever did it really poorly. Because all they put was 2-year contract, and it's like, okay, is it an entry level contract? Is it just a
They never give details, but it's
You're asking a lot.
ELC.
Every other team at least.
So here's some highlights.
Minimum puts it in entry level contract, and they have in the past. They put at least entry level contract.
Here's some Gustav highlights. Let's take a gander, Jackie. Let's see what
he can hit.
Think.
Fairmouth wins the draw. Works with Shouty now. Nice pass to Shouty. Top of the circle. Shot. Didn't get enough on it, and Stover's able to make the save. Fairmouth was there for a potential rebound, but then got tangled up.
And then it just kind of came back awkwardly. So I think you might have been right. Might have caromed off of him.
Shouty out to center, has Birch.
Nice
Shouty up ahead. He's got a quick 2-on-1. Shouty in, shoots, and a save made by Stover. The pie slot, drag move, shots wide of the net.
And what are they saying?
McGrath on the
Shouty?
Cross ice feed, Shouty.
Okay.
It almost sounds like Stahlberg, which is weird, but I don't know.
Jack Silich's first career point is a power play goal.
So he looks facilitating there. That's a big boy.
Get that puck for that young man right there.
Well, and the thing with Bowling Green is, as far as I know, in the last few years, they've gotten in trouble with hazing.
Oh, that sucks.
And well, a lot of college programs and a lot of junior programs have, but
sure.
I mean, that's not to place blame somewhere else, but I know that also Cam Wright, a former DU player, transferred out of there for some reason and ended up playing his last year with DU. That's when they won the championship. So for some reason, he transferred out of there. I never was able to ask him why, but it's a school that doesn't pump out very many prospects. And even then, Cam Wright he's just been stuck in the AHL, ECHL. He's only done a few games with the Oilers and things like that. Okay. So,
well, it brings me to, Jackie, your roundtable, one of your roundtable topics, which is obviously this signing is not going to at all affect the Avalanche defensive unit this year, or maybe even for years to come. But but it does beg the question. I do think after the Edmonton game, I mentioned this about kind of when you didn't have Wedgwood in net to kind of save your bacon on some of those net front, absolutely guys left all alone in the net front kind of scenarios. You're exposed a little bit for having more defensive issues than maybe we're aware of given the win total. The question you asked in the roundtable, which folks, please head over to milehighhockey.com where you can find this roundtable contributed to by Matthew Edwards as well. But it was, did the Avalanche do enough on the back end? We did see Blankenburg play in the 7-11 situation last night. He logged like 7.5 minutes. But I just don't feel like they did much on the back end. If anything, they made more of a linear move and a stylistic swap with Kulak for Girard. Does anybody disagree with that or see it differently?
I mean, I still think it's a downgrade. Like, I get that Kulak can do certain things within his skill set, but overall it's a downgrade. And I know that the whole Avsverse has decided that Girard was, meaningless and pointless, and that it's fine to get rid of him because anybody with a warm body that hits is apparently now better than him. But no, they are not better. They are worse. Blankenburg's fine as the next man up. I mean, whatever. They needed something better. So, I mean, sure. But like we talked about in our last show, I don't think it's a competitive advantage anymore. I don't think that they're going to have the best defense in most matchups that they face in the playoffs. They have Kilmakar. That's still amazing. Taves is obviously a very good defenseman. We've also seen what his shortcomings are. If you don't know what I'm talking about, take a gander at the Oilers highlights. And everybody has a moment, right? Every single player has mistakes, but I think Taze's gets glossed over because he was such a find and he's a miracle and he's the best top pair with Kale, blah 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 blah. It's not true. So if you want to know a reason why, that's one reason. So no, I don't think it's good enough. And what could they have done? Could they have rented a better defenseman? Maybe, but I mean, I don't like that strategy. I don't like it. Thought that, we'll just rent this top 4 guy because, they're out of assets. I mean, once they settled on Kadri, there was no way they.
Well, hence the reason why they're signing college free agents.
Well, I mean, this guy's not playing for the Avs. Like,
well, I know, but
anybody wants to. I mean, if they convincing themselves that that's gonna like fill the bucket.
Oh, they are.
Well, then somebody needs to sit down with them and go through some numbers. Honestly,
they're doing.
If you want my pick for a miracle, I still think it's Del Elche. I think he looks exactly like Malinsky to me on the ice. He is a drafted player, so I guess it's already a strike against him. But if I was going to call my shot and say the Avs are going to get a miracle, that would be it. Not these other guys.
I like it.
It's funny too, by the way, because while we're mentioning Gerard and like fans are happy about him leaving, Avs fans have already found their new scapegoat, and it's Brent Burns. I know.
Yeah. Me and you have been discussing that one.
Yeah, I know he hasn't been good the last few games, but come on,
that hurts their narrative because
they aren't. They also aren't.
Proves my point that their second pair isn't good enough.
I know, yes, but they're also not going to sit him. He just passed Paul Coffey for the second longest Ironman streak.
No, it wasn't Paul Coffey. It was Keith Yandel.
Oh, was it Keith Yandel? Oh, I'm sorry, Keith Yandel. It's not happening. Brent Burns, I know he's 41. He just turned 41, but he is still serviceable. Is he a top 4 defenseman like Jackie's saying? I don't know. Probably not. But
neither is Josh Manson.
He'd be a really good second D. He'd be a really good set. I obviously you only have so much money to play with, right? But I do think that the Avs could have invested. I think if they had a time machine in 2020, tells you maybe spend a little less on Nick Waugh, both in terms of capital heading towards the team in exchange for him and as well as what he costs, so that you could have afforded like a legitimate upgrade at 7D. Because no, folks, I'm not going to buy your narrative about Blankenburg being a serviceable.
As good as Gerard. Let's just stop.
Well, and Blankenburg's not going to get as many minutes as Gerard was. I mean, we saw that obviously last night. He was getting less. He got less than 10 minutes. He's there just to give 30 extra seconds on the bench for someone to take a few extra breaths and then get his butt back on the bench. And then, hey, okay, Kale, go back out, do your thing. I'll sit.
Why couldn't they have spent assets to get rid of Colton then?
Good point.
They couldn't have spent.
Good question.
Now, of course, we don't know what teams are willing to do out there, but honestly, if they had to give a second just to get rid of Gerard, they needed to get rid of Colton and kept Gerard.
But
and then spent that money
to approve most of the trades that happened.
Yeah, sure. Well, that is something that we're gonna find out. Is the defense good enough? It reminds me of how we looked at goaltending heading into 2022, which was we don't have any world beaters back there, but are they going to be good enough with this team that's really good defensively and can forecheck well and score? This year, it's more like, can this defense do enough to help their netminders? And will this Avalanche team explode offensively at the right time? And that will come to fruition in the playoffs. And when it does, we will be here to talk about it at nauseum. And you guys will be like, okay, we get it. You guys like hockey. You keep talking to us twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays at 3:45 p.m. Mountain Time, in case you're wondering.
I'll answer, I just want to answer those two questions really quick, Brennan. That second question, I'm not worried about. The offense is going to be the offense. They're going to fly. As long as they get 3 of the 4 guys that are out right now, which it sounds like that seems likely. It's just really exciting, especially for someone like Lewin O'Connor. I'm not worried about that. The defense, though, is the bigger question. But the main difference, you make a really good point about comparing it to 2022 with the netminders. The difference, though, at least, is that there is a world beater on defense, and his name is Kale McCarr.
True.
That's a very big difference. In 2022 with Kemper and Francouz, we were uncertain. I mean, Kemper was only on a 1-year deal anyway, and Francouz had kind of just been a serviceable backup for his entire career, basically, in Colorado. But they have Cale Makar on defense, and that's a big world beater that the goaltenders did not have in 2022.
I'd have concern.
It's more so who can support Makar, I feel like.
I mean, that's how they get eliminated every year, is because MacKinnon can't score every goal, Makar can't score every goal. The secondary scoring dries up, or at least consistently. I mean, that's why they lose every year, is because they can't score. And it sounds insane to say, oh, that's your concern, the Avs can't score. But it's still a very top-heavy team. Adding Kadri helps. That's a big one. He should be able to score consistently.
Well, and
other
then
than that, there's still a lot of questions of how many goals can they get when it's important.
Yeah,
and it's also that we're allowing the other team to actually get too close to the net in most cases.
I'm pulling that up for you right now, Brandon.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I put it in our chat, but in the first 3 goals in the previous game, not last game, but the one before that, were all within the high danger zone. And yeah, that's just not how you play defensive hockey. So
no, that's
and
not
that was
protecting the net.
That was against Blackwood.
Mm-hmm. And the team that has the league's best power play, and probably the most one of the more electrifying forwards in the league. You know,
yeah,
Connor
but
McDavid.
I mean, I get it. That was one of them was McDavid, but I think the other 2 were Nugent Hopkins, and it's just like, come on, you guys shouldn't be letting them get that close to the net in order to just chip it on in.
The defensive effort in that game was pretty gross, but
it was
I found
disgusting.
Interesting that he said, but we still needed saves.
Yeah, yep, you did say that. I heard that.
And I
heard that.
And I would have agreed with everybody that said, yeah, oh yeah, like some of those shots were crazy. But he even said that, but we still needed saves. So that tells you kind of like
where his head's at
there, but
yeah.
But are they really, like I said, we'll see what happens with this Dallas game, because are they really starting to shift mindset? I'm not quite sure I believe that yet, but it was interesting that he said that.
Yeah, that is interesting, because I think it's a little Freudian slip in him telling you more, showing you some cards, and Bednar doesn't typically do that. Although he wasn't hiding any cards after the MacKinnon ejection. He came right out and said, they got it wrong, and I'm not surprised. Well,
and then for them to flat out be like, oh yeah, by the way, we're gonna rescind that the next day.
Yeah, crazy.
And our bad.
Yeah, our bad. Sorry you lost. As we showed on that graphic though a second ago with those net front goals, I think there were other problems to point to.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, I don't know if you guys talked about that.
We did to start the show, but give us your 2 cents real quick.
I'll give briefly my thought there. Like I like everybody else, I think the call was pretty crazy. Like the hit was so violent, I get the call, but they spent like 5 minutes looking at it. So,
on an iPad. iPad.
At that point, it's just like, I don't know whose optics they wanted to satisfy there, but I don't think that's the reason why they lost the game. They even killed the major, but I guess you could argue at the end of the day, could MacKinnon have scored on the extra time?
Probably.
Sure.
Or led to a goal. He had 4 points last night.
Does this team really need more of those comebacks, win in overtime? Like, what does that even tell you? Like, to me, that tells me nothing. Like, they deserve to lose that game. They deserve, because the defensive performance, because they consistently let players behind their defense, because they couldn't cover McDavid. Yeah, I think they deserve to wear the L on that one, regardless of did MacKinnon get jobbed. Yeah.
Well, I was mentioning it just in watching the flow of that game, that like Edmonton seems like one of the few teams that can actually make Colorado pay in transition, like at a very effective rate. Like cash in on most their transition chances, because they have the speed to make you pay when you make those little boo-boos that Cale Makar seems to like to make on his own blue line as of late in a power play position. But it's It is what, like, I'm not trying to beat up on Kale or anybody really. You win some, you lose some, and they lost that game, and you learn from the things that led to your loss. I'm with you, Jackie. Like, there's more value in losing right now, I think, than just doing that same comeback win that you've done 10 times.
Like, oh, you still won, and it's like,
we need to learn what we're bad at. We need to learn what we're bad at before the playoffs come around, so that the Avalanche are prepared for that.
Dallas, you want to stay ahead of them, but like this whole counting down, like, oh, they could clinch the playoffs in 3 games. Like, honestly, I do not care. Like, that's great.
Technically,
was that even a question? Were we even like, oh my gosh, are they never going to make the playoffs? But like, odds-wise, I don't care about the validation of like, we clinched playoffs in March. Okay, great, win the cup.
I'm pretty sure.
You get
like
too hung up on this stuff, and I get it's only what we could only celebrate what's in front of us. But to me, it's like we're starting to lose the plot here.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even with just like the odds of it, 20 games ago with the odds and historical data, like the Avs were going to make the playoffs. You could have sent that tweet out a while.
Celebrating another great regular season.
Yeah, no, I hear you. We'll find out. I think the Avs are better positioned, like we said last episode. They're better positioned this year than they were last year. So I suppose it'll come down to just, can they make those 1 or 2 little plays? Do they get those 1 or 2 bounces that every cup team needs in their path to win a cup?
I think they can. Yeah. I don't want to make it sound like, the die's already set. They're definitely not winning. I mean, like I said last time, they have as good a chance as they've ever had, but you have to improve on your weaknesses.
I agree with that.
They didn't win the cup in November.
No, certainly not. And they didn't lose it by losing to Edmonton the other night. That's for sure. Well, let's rehash our bold predictions from our last episodes real quick, which you guys are going to have to remind me of because I didn't do my homework right last time and I didn't write any of them down. Like
I know MacKinnon's going to get like 20 shots on goal next game.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I think, Jackie, yours was I think you said you wanted 30 shots in 3 games.
I think it was 25, but that's not happening. So
okay, we'll buzzer you there. Oh geez, sorry, that one was a loud one. Evan, we're gonna give you a ding, but you're not gonna get a point because you predicted that the Avs would DJ Triple D would play all the small things on 2022 night. Well, yeah, come on, Evan.
I did say that before he announced it, and I didn't see that announcement. And I know I put in the comments afterwards that they would play Baba O'Reilly, and I don't think that happened.
They did not do that, which is BS, bro. So I'll give you your buzzer for that one.
I saw nothing personally from that celebration, which is kind of sad. I mean, if you're gonna make I get most of the players are still playing, but it's like if you're going to make a point to celebrate every single cup win, I think they could have tried a little bit better.
Yeah.
Well, and at least do the celebration with the ones that are still there, like, Makar, Manson, and Landy and
Kadri. I mean, even just the fact of having Kadri at that point to like just bring
happened to be his first game back.
Yeah. Like that would have been a little bit of a moment, to have kind of say, hey, cup people,
hey, by the way,
get your butts out here, come on.
Yeah. I'm with you there. They probably could have fluffed that one up a little bit more. Brendan, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that since you don't remember, you didn't get it right, because I have a feeling,
dude, I expect you to write it down every time. So
yes, that's fair. But I
don't think it was Eagles related, was it?
Every time you get a bold prediction right, it's like the second it happens, I get it in the Slack chat. So that's where I'm like, no way, bro.
Dude, I've been so busy doing other stuff.
I'll tell you this. So I'm going to get off this episode. I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen to the end of our last one. I'm going to find out what your bold prediction was. And if it was something that you got right, I'm going to give you 2 points. But for now, I'm going to give you a wrong buzzer. And I'm going to give myself one because I didn't write anything down and I'm a bad boy. And so I deserve no points.
That takes off 10 points.
Yeah. Put me down at the bottom of the leaderboard. Yes, exactly. Let me run the sponsor. I'll give the spiel and I'll get your guys' bold predictions. I guess I can't say for this week anymore, for this Friday episode.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I call that bold talk.
This is Bold Predictions, brought to you by Brews Ale House Brewing Company in Pueblo, Colorado, located in the heart of downtown Pueblo and along the Arkansas River Walk. A beautiful place that you can go into and get some house-made beverages, some delicious meals. They have a full coffee station, bakery. It's just a wonderful place to go and enjoy yourself, enjoy some food, some beverages, and enjoy some hockey or basketball on the television as well, as they broadcast all of the Nuggets and all of the Avalanche games for you to enjoy. Okay, Jackie, you are cruising on top of the leaderboard right now with 10 points. Ezra's in second with 6. I'm in third, tied with Evan at 5. Brandon, you're with 3, and that's because you make Eagles predictions all the time, so maybe we sway away from that. So
I already did, and you forgot my predictions. So do you?
But Jackie, since you're at the top of the leaderboard, you go first, and I'm writing it down. All right, I'm writing it down.
Well, how long does this cover? Like, are you talking about just the next game, the next week?
Yeah.
I need some parameters
So
here.
Until Tuesday, I think, until our next show.
Yeah.
So like two more games.
Yeah. Oh, you know what happened is we didn't give bold predictions because we skipped, right? We said we were only going to do them on Tuesdays, or Fridays, or whatever.
Well, here we are.
Y'all giving me crud for it. And
let's do it. Let's do it now, anyway. But let's
Listen,
look at
we
the
need
schedule.
all the help anyway to catch Jackie. So
exactly. The more opportunities, the better. Jackie, we'll get Winnipeg and we'll get the Avs versus Pittsburgh game before our next episode.
Okay. I'm trying to think where I'm going to take those. I'll say Bardakov scores a goal in the next 2 games.
I like that.
Bardakov.
that is bold.
He had one of his best games when they played was it the Edmonton? He looked great against
that was
Edmonton.
when MacKinnon and Colton were out. They were down 2 forwards. So
2 goals or 1 goal, Jackie?
1. I think it's
goal.
bold enough that he scored 1.
Yeah, I just couldn't remember what you said. I agree with you.
Yeah, one in either the Winnipeg or whatever Pittsburgh game.
I dig that. All right. Let's go with you, Evan.
Pull it.
all right, I got 2 of them, but I'm only going to choose one of them because I think maybe one of them was made on Tuesday, but I don't remember. Usually Connor Hellebuck is the guy against the Avs, always shutting them out. But Winnipeg has not been very good this year, so I'm going to flip it and I'm going to say the Avs shut out Winnipeg.
Ooh.
Whether it's Wedgwood or Blackwood, it's going to be a great look on that resume for either one of them.
Well, if it's Blackwood, it's not going to be a shutout.
I hope it is. If it is Blackwood,
That's why this is called bold predictions, Brian.
Okay, and I want to make a point about Bardakov. Even though in that Edmonton game, everyone said he played well, and Benner was like, "Oh, I was trying to get him out as much as I could." I think that's what he said after that game. 9 minutes.
That's what as much as you could looks like.
Yeah, exactly. So if that man scores a goal, that's definitely
that was some
more involved. He's due, right?
Yeah, he is. Ezra, who's not on the show today, dealing with some stuff, which our heart goes out to you, Ezra. We love you, man. He would have very much liked your delivery right there, Jackie, being a comedian. He said 9 minutes. That's so true. That's what I said when we found out we were there going 7-11. I said, let's see if Blankenberg plays more than 5.5 minutes, even though they're 7-11 tonight, which he got to 7 minutes. I'll give it to him. He
9, I think.
And did he end up with 9 at the end of the day?
9:31.
Yeah, 9.5.
Nice. So well over, damn near doubled up my over-under line. Brandon, what do you got for me this week?
John Tay's goal.
Oh.
He's playing third line minutes, man. He ain't getting right now.
Well, that ruins my bold prediction, Brandon. What are we doing here?
One of you could be right, but both of you cannot.
I won't put it on the board, but my boys have already. So.
I'm just gonna quote you on that.
Yeah, I'll admit it. I love watching him score. So sorry.
Yeah. Sorry about it. If it happens against the Avs, I'll probably enjoy
Always
it.
been my favorite.
I dig it. I'm gonna my bold prediction this time around is going to be. I'm going to say that the Penguins beat the Avalanche in regulation. I know it sucks, but the Penguins
matchups, rematches. If something's coming.
And I like just typical 8-0 fashion, put my foot in my mouth as the deadline came and went, and the Penguins looked very hurt, or excuse me, before the deadline, and I was like, oh, they have no reason to go get anyone. Crosby's hurt. They're going to fall out of playoff position because the East is so tight. All they've done pretty much since is win. So to honor the fact that I was so dead wrong, I'm going to choose them to beat the Avalanche in regulation, which hasn't happened a lot this season. Yeah. So we shall see how all of that sorts out. Brandon, I know that you have a event that you want to talk about, and I want to put that up on the screen for you as well, so that you can have something to help you with that. But I almost just showed you like my entire feed instead of what you were actually looking for. So stand by.
Yeah, close them windows, bud.
Yeah,
we don't want to see everything.
Let's close this one. There we go. All right, have at it, my friend.
Okay, so tomorrow we are doing a watch party at number 38 in Rhino, starting at 1:30 is the pregame, so I will be there. I believe Marie Sexton is going to be there. She's our primary Eagles writer. Evan, unfortunately, is not going to be flying in from Buffalo and putting in the time. But beers and food and all that fun junk. And then, of course, if you guys are Nuggets fans, you can stay for the Hooper Ball game if you want. So
cool.
Sorry, I got to stay here and work a spring break lacrosse game all by myself tomorrow.
I am working on that too, dude.
Yeah, the game's early tomorrow, just if any of our listeners.
Yeah, it's at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock game.
But
yeah.
with a 1:30 start time for the pregame and all that fun junk at the bar.
Yep. I might be putting in for the Avs Penguins game too. So be on the lookout for that. Those of you who are tuned into the website, milehighhockey.com, you saw we did a little kind of a different version of the recap. We called it the rinkside recap with our butts in the joint. So if I am going to be in the arena, I'll be sure to let everybody know on X, and then you can expect one of those recaps. Be sure to head over to the website and check out that roundtable that I mentioned that Jackie spearheaded, surrounding kind of the back end and what the Avalanche may or may not have back there. Be sure to head on over to Hockey Mountain High as well, where you can find the works of Mr. Brennan Vogt and Evan Liu. Unless you three have something else you want to touch on, I think I'm going to call it an episode.
See, I released an article today about recapping all the trades from July onwards. And then, of course, I've got something coming up with Mile High Hockey for Cooper Gay, and
on Sunday.
What the heck happened to him? So
what the heck happened to Cooper Gay?
I told you my theory. I think he got the Bednar note.
Yeah,
nope.
Yeah, and so it's a mystery, but unfortunately, I don't think we're gonna get a straight answer on it, but only theories.
Well, there you have it, Avs fans. Head on over to Hockey Mountain High as well, where you can find that. That'll be on the website, milehighhockey.com, you said. Yes, so check that out. On Sunday. Yes. Okay. Very cool. And be ready for Avs and Winnipeg tomorrow at 2. And then, of course, Avs and Pittsburgh on Monday as well. I guess until next time, stay happy, Avalanche fans. My name is Adrian Hernandez on behalf of Jackie K, Evan Liu, and Brendan Vogt, my esteemed colleagues. Go Avalanche.
Bop it. Thank you for tuning into the Mile High Hockey Lab.